Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this Bendi card. It's held together like this with two tabs, one on that piece there and one on that piece there. And to post it you just undo those two, pack it flat and it will go into a normal size envelope like that. I don't think you need to send people instructions how to put this card together, because I'm sure that they just see two tabs there and they're going to ask themselves where do they go, and the slits are quite easy to find, so I don't think instructions are necessary. I'm going to do the same card again now. The only thing I'm changing is this designer series paper at the back here. I'm going to be using the same as this but with a grey background and white spots. The one thing I'm going to change about the way I put the card together is this piece here. I'm going to adhere these at the back of the card. I have been trying several different ways of how I find this easiest to do, and this is going to be the final step. Once I've done that, I'm going to be totally happy with it. So let me just put this back together again. And then I will give you the card sizes first of all. Okay, see, that goes together quite easily. I'm sure anybody will be able to work that one out. Right, so to start off with, the Whisper White pieces, these three are all 5.5 inches wide, which is 14 centimetres. This one is 4.25 inches deep, which is 10.8 centimetres. This one is 2.5 inches deep, which is 6.3 centimetres. This one is 1.5 inches deep, which is 3.8 centimetres. And then you have three pieces of designer series paper, and this is from Foxy Friends. And this piece, the large piece for the back, measures 5 3/8 inches by 4 1/8 inch, which is 13.6 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres. This piece is 4 5/8 inches by 2 3/8 inches, which is 11.7 by 6 centimetres. This piece is 4 5/8 inches by 1 3/8 inches, which is 11.7 by 3.5. Now the next few pieces, the sizes are approximate, it's just as a guide for you for the images and the sentiment. So the soft suede for 2 reindeer, you need a piece that's approximately 4.5 inches by 3 inches, which is 11.4 by 7.6 centimetres. For the 2 tall trees, you need one piece of wild wasabi that measures 4.5 inches by 5 inches, which is 11.4 centimetres by 12.7 centimetres. You'll need another piece of wild wasabi for the smaller trees, and that measures 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches, which is 14 by 10.8 centimetres. And then you need a piece of Whisper White for the sentiment, which will measure 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. If you decide you want to have a piece of smoky slate as a layer underneath here, you would need a piece that's 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So that's basically the same size as that, which is 6.3 by 8.9 centimetres. Okay, so what we are going to do first is the scoring. And for the pieces that need scoring are these two smaller pieces of the Whisper White. They both need to be scored at 1/4 of an inch and at 5 inches, which in metric is 0.6 centimetres by 12.7 centimetres. Okay, so in inches that is 1/4 of an inch and 5 inches, and 1/4 inch by 5 inches. That's all the scoring we need to do. Now we need to cut our tabs. Right, I wanted to use my inches, didn't I? Can I push this up without pushing anything on the floor? Yes, that should work. Right, the tab is going to be on the 1/4 inch end on both of these. And what you need to do is take your pencil and just put marks on the bottom here. On the 1.5 inch wide piece, you need to put your mark at 3/8 of an inch, which is there, and then 1 1/8, and in metric that is at 1 centimetre and 2.8 centimetres. And then with this piece, also the 1/4 inch side, that needs to have a mark at 7/8 of an inch and at 1 5/8 of an inch. And in metric, that is 2.2 centimetres and 4 centimetres. Okay? Right, so what we're going to do, with the tabs, it's not crucial that you're absolutely spot on, because we are going to use the actual tabs to measure where we're going to do our slits. I know a lot of you do prefer to have actual measurements to work by, which is why I've given the measurements for this. You could just guess it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a line from my pencil mark up to my score mark, but I'm going to do it as a slight mitre. And what I aim to do is to actually cut the pencil mark off, and then I do the same on the other side as well. And then I cut this piece off along the score line, like that, and then the same on the other side. As I say, we're going to be using this actual piece to measure where our slit is going to go. So if you're a little bit out, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm just cutting the pencil mark off, going at a slight angle, both sides, and then I'm cutting that off along the score line, and the same again on that side. Okay. Now I am going to fold my both pieces at 1/2 inch, make sure the edges line up really nicely, and then burnish them both. Okay, so that's nicely done. Right, next step is to adhere the designer series paper to the tabs. It's okay, I've got it all written down over there so that I get this in the right order. Okay, so I'm getting my designer series paper, and I'm going to do these two pieces first. I will use my silicone mat just in case I get a bit clumsy with the glue. I'm not sure that that's the... No, that's not the right one. It feels very empty. It's okay to use when I'm on my own, but not for a video. Right, let's do this piece first. Now when you're putting your glue on here, don't do it... Oh, I know what I've forgotten to do. Before you do this, what you should do on both of these pieces, you should curl it very slightly. Okay, just a couple of goes and that's enough. And when you're doing this, be very, very careful, particularly with this piece, that you don't slice it down your finger and give yourself a nasty finger cut. Okay, so that's those. I can do this one. And just a couple on there is fine. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this one. Very carefully, I suppose. Just partial curl is better than no curl. Right, let's carry on now. What I was going to say was, when you're putting your Tombow on this, make sure that you get some spread out. It doesn't have to be solid, but I'll explain to you why when we get to the bit, why this is important. And I do recommend that you use Tombow for this. You are putting paper, 2 layers of paper together that are going to be bending. And I do find that Tombow is most cooperative with it. Okay, so that's bending quite nicely. In fact, that's bending very nicely. Okay, now the smaller piece. There we go, that's that one. And now this one is going to go on here. I've been wanting to do a bendy card for such a long time, but one of those things, never got around to doing it. This one, it doesn't matter so much if you don't have Tombow all over the place. Yes, it does. Ignore that. Make sure you got Tombow all over the place on this one as well. And I have given you the measurements so that you get a small white gap all around. Although when it comes to this bottom one, I tend to leave a bigger gap than at the top there. Don't ask me why. Sometimes I do these things and I question myself. Right, now normally, I mean, I've seen quite a few videos to see how people do this, and more often than not they say to adhere that there, but I don't like that because I need this to measure up for my tabs. So I will be finishing off putting it there, which means I'm going to finish up with that and that here, and also the slit, of course, but I don't think that looks bad. Right, now what we need to do again with our pencil, we've got to decide where our slits are going to go. Now I used my ruler, and for mark 1.5 inches on the right hand side. Right, this one here is going to have a slit go in there, and the slit is going to be 2 inches in. So what I do is, and I'm sorry I haven't done my metrics on this, 2 inches obviously is 5, I should at least know that one. 2 inches is 5, and 1.5 inch is 3.8. Okay, so I am doing 1.5 inches, not 2 inches, 1.5 inches in from here, which is 3.8 centimetres. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm measuring it right from the edge of the white, and I'm just putting a little pencil mark, and then I'm moving up a bit, measuring 1.5 again, And then I am using my grid paper. I'm lining this up straight here, and then as I line my ruler up with these two lines, I should find that it lines up straight with here as well, which it looks as if it does. So again, I'm just drawing a very fine pencil mark along there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is bring this piece in now. The thing is, if I attach this now already, it will be on there and you'd be having to pull this back to measure where your tab's going to be. But this way, much easier. Okay, so I'm going to line my edges up here against my pencil line. I'm not covering it right up. Again, as I said, it's not crucial that you're actually spot on here. What is crucial is as you put this piece down, make sure that this is right against your edge, nice and straight. Once you're happy that you've got that, then you need to draw a little L shape inside your tab and an L shape inside your tab there. Okay, now what you need to do is you're going to be cutting from the where those two lines meet, the angle there. I can't say it's a 90 degrees because we did slotted line, but that is where we're going to be cutting. Now the other slot is going to be going on here, and this one you need to measure 2 inches in, which is the 5 centimetres. So again, I'm going to do the same. In fact, if I go from there, it's 2.5 inches, isn't it? So if you go from the edge of your paper, make it 2.5 inches. One pencil mark, move up a bit, and 2.5 inches. I'll amend that instruction when I edit the video. There we go. Right, again, I'm going to line this up on here. Then I'm going to put my ruler to line these two. And I should find that the gap that I've got between that line and that line is the same. If I'm happy with that, then I can do this. Now I am going to bring this piece over, line these two lines, that one and that one, up with my line here, and making sure that this lines up with the base there. Okay, so first of all, make sure this is all nice and straight. Once you're happy that that's okay, then you can do your L in the corner there. Okay, again, we're going to be doing a cut with the knife from that corner to that corner. Okay, so we're going to do that later, I think, because it's got wet glue in there. I'm going to put it to one side. It can be drying while we do all our stamping and our die cutting and what have you. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to do all of my pieces. I've already got them all die cut and ready to use, but I will show you, as usual, one of everything, just in case there's anything I do that's a little bit unusual or quirky or anything that I think I could tell you that's helpful. Now I'm using, the stamp set is called Santa's Sleigh, and it's this one here. I'm using this tree and the reindeer. This is soft suede ink. One reindeer. 2. Now the other thing that I do with the reindeer is I use my crumb cake marker pen and I just colour in the hooves. It comes up looking very dark to start off with, but as it dries very light. It just gives the hooves a little bit of definition. I also do this to the nose as well. Okay, so that needs to be die cut. I think this was for the tall tree. So I'm going to use Wild Wasabi ink. And this is the stamp for this one. Okay, so that's that one. Haven't done that very well down the bottom there, but never mind. And then the other one is for the this one. 3 trees, the smaller ones. And this comes from Peaceful Pines. And I'm using this one here. That, I think, I haven't checked it, but that stamp I think will go really nicely with the new stamp set that's coming out called Beautiful You. It's the same sort of artwork. Right, so we need 3 of these, and the way you get the most out of your cardstock here is if you do 1, turn it around and then do 1 from this side. And then the 3rd one. Okay, so that's that. And the last bit of stamping I'm going to do is for the sentiment. And for that I'm going to use Smoky Slate. The sentiment is Happy Christmas. And this is from Oh What Fun stamp set. This one here. Okay. And my little piece of cardstock. Just as centered as possible. There we go, that's fine. Now, in preparation for actually doing all my die cutting, I cut these into singles. One of the reasons is I find it a lot easier not to have too much paper. If I keep this to a minimum, I can get more than 1 piece of die cutting on the platform at any one time. So that's these 2. The other thing about separating them is if your mats, your cutting mats on your Big Shot are really very, very used, if you put 1 big piece through and it's got several on it, at the further away it can get scratches on here because it's just going through time and time again. so it is better just to put it through the once. Right, now we need the big shot. And I have my magnetic platform here. So first of all I'm going to do, let's do this one up here first. Happy Christmas. I am using number 5, I believe, of the layering ovals framelits. I'll have all the details on the screen and also in the box below exactly what sizes I'm using. So there's that one. We do one of the reindeer, and these are the coordinating dies that go with Santa's sleigh. Oh, that wasn't very good, was it? And then we need one of these trees. Oh yes, I was going to say I don't think we're going to get one of everything on, but I think we will do. Okay, so we've got that on. You can't see that, can you? No, you can. And then can I get one of these on as well? Yes. I hope they bring the Peaceful Pines set back again. It has been very useful. They brought it forward from last year, which is almost unheard of. So whether they would do it twice or not, I don't know. It would be nice. Right, so just put that through. Now before I dismantle all this, I just make sure it has all cut. That one has. Okay, so that's the tall tree. That's the smaller tree. And you see I've got a number 3 on here. It's because this set comes with 3 different sizes of trees and they match up with different stamps in the set. And then the reindeer. And then the sentiment. Okay. Now I'm not going to do any more die cutting, otherwise we'll be here for ages. Right, all I'm going to do with the sentiment is, in preparation, I'm going to put some dimensionals on. So that piece is ready. Now with the pieces that are going to go on either of the bendy bits, these bits here, it's best to curl them, and it's not terribly easy because you're curling sideways, but it does just help to adhere these onto your tabs when you get to it, if they're curling the same as the actual pieces here. So do all of your trees like that. Also do it to your reindeer as well. Now I put googly eyes onto my reindeer because I think looking like that, I think he looks a little bit on the snooty side. Don't know, can you see that? Yep. So with a googly eye on, he looks a lot more friendly. Big difference, isn't it? But for the video he can stay. I'm not doing anything else to the tree for bending because that's going to go on the flat background. But what I will do is I will, if I can see it, use my Wink of Stella pen and just go over the trees. As I say, I've already done this to all of my trees, but it does make a nice little addition to it. It does give your card a lift. I didn't do mine at first, I did it once I'd put my card together. Not quite as easy as doing it like this, but my goodness, it did make a difference. I also do this one. Okay, and then I do the antlers as well. And then that's all that done. Okay, so that's all ready. Now I'm going to do the cutting of the slits. Now what I'm going to use is a little cutting board that I have here. I'm going to do this big one first, and this is my little knife that I use, and you need a metal ruler, and all I'm going to do is cut a line from that corner to that corner. Now because it's going through two thicknesses of paper, it is going to take a little bit of effort. Okay. So you will need to go over it 2 or 3 times, depending on how sharp your knife is, how much pressure you're putting on it. Once you've done that, just take your tab and make sure that you've cut it long enough. Now this is where I say you need Tombow all over, because if it wasn't anywhere in between the 2 layers here, when you put this one in, you could find that it goes underneath the designer series paper rather than the both sheets, and come through the back. Okay, so that's gone through very nicely. That's lining up there, so that's perfect. That's that one done. So I'm going to remove, erase all the pencil marks on here. I did find originally, oh, done a bit hard there, never mind. I did find originally that by cutting the white cardstock first, then assembling the tabs onto it, and then putting the DSP on, and then doing more cutting, it was really making quite a mess. But this is much, much tidier. Right, so I'm going to cut again. And I'm going to give it 2 or 3 goes. Whoops, that went a bit too far. Let's hope it didn't go right the way through. No, it didn't by the looks of things. That was lucky. It looks as if it's okay, so let's try this. Oh, there we go. That's come down a bit over, so I need to get my cut further up here slightly. Let's see if that's done it. Yes, that's better. That's lined up beautifully. Okay, so that's all of the cutting. I'm just going to remove the pencil marks on here as well, and then we can just assemble our card. Okay, and the cut has finished up nice and tidy. Okay, which, considering that's gone through 2 layers, including one glued layer, so that's very good. Very pleased with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put glue on the insides of these. Here I think you could use fast fuse, or I'm not sure, stale, but tear and tape would be okay. In fact, I should be using my silicone mat again, shouldn't I? Right, so that one is going to go at the bottom here. So pop that behind and then fold that over. In fact, that's so much easier. Even if it wasn't for not wanting to have that tab visible, that was so much easier to line that up. Okay, so you get the line there, but some of my glue is oozed out as well, but my adhesive eraser will get rid of that. So that's that one. And now this one, I will do this way round. So pop that onto there, fold it around, make sure it comes right down to the end, make sure that's all fitting on nicely, and then that should be straight. There we go. So yes, I'm pleased with that. Let's see if it all fits together. A bit disappointed that I pressed so hard on that, but never mind, I can live with that. Let that be a lesson. Don't you make the same mistake. Okay, so there we go. There's our card. Now, isn't that simple? And it really does have quite a wow factor to it. Right, so let's put everything together. I'll bring all my pieces over here. Let's do this one first. I'm going to follow what I've done here, so I'll bring this one over. So what I did first of all was I took 2 of these trees, and it looks like oh, of course I've got 4, haven't I, because I did one earlier, and I got an extra one of these as well, so save that. Right, so let's do 2 of these first, and I can see that the tab is going to come just above that second pointy bit on the tree. Okay, so that tells me where I can put my glue. Okay, so just above the second pointy bit, I'm okay to go that far. Again, I would use fast fuse or Tombow for this, because it is being folded across. Now I'm putting the trunk at the bottom, and I'm putting the triangle bit almost at the edge there. Okay, so that's that one, and I'm going to put the next one right next to it. You could overlap them if you wanted. I don't, because if it overlaps, then you might finish up with your reindeer around the corner there. I mean, if you want your reindeer around the corner there, that's fine. It wouldn't really matter because the other one's around the corner, isn't it? Right. So I put the tree at the bottom, just lining up to the next one, just there. And my reindeer is going to cover that up. So his body is almost right to the top there. So I'm just coming a little way down from the top. Okay, so that's that one there. Again, I'm putting his feet down towards the bottom and just putting him in between the trees. But because I've curled everything here, it's all curling very, very nicely. Okay, so that's that one done. And then on this side, I'm going to do another tree, and I put this one, let's see, I've got 2 triangles. You see this? Yeah. I've got 2 triangles from the top there. So that's how far I can put the glue on this one. Okay, 2 triangles at the top. And where did, yeah, that's what I said, wasn't it? Right, that I've got to go a bit above because I can't, that's right, that's dictated by this cut here, this slit, which is why that just goes up to the 2 triangles. Okay, so again, that's bent, so that's alright. And then I'm going to put my reindeer on top of him, and he can be glued everywhere. Right. Again, just make sure that you avoid the slit. And he's bending right. Okay, bending very nicely there. So he's okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 2 trees here. Now that one's fine, but this one is clearly in the way. So I need to cut some of that off. So what I do is I put it in position, and then again with my pencil I just put a pencil line above the cut line, and then by the cut line, and then down by the cut line. So if I cut all the way through there, I know that I can put my tree on here and I won't interfere. What I do is with my pencil lines, I do go slightly to the right hand side. Okay, so let me just show you where I've cut in relation to my pencil marks. Okay, so that way I've got a bit of a gap here between the cut line and my tree. So let's just put some glue on these 2. Okay, I just take that as high as I can. And then this one. again to the top and just make sure it fits in on this side. Now you can see why I decided to have the, it doesn't look very straight, does it? No, well that's alright. You can see why I decided to put this on to dimensionals, because it's going to go above both the trees. I'll just tip this up for myself for a moment. There we go. And I'm just going to put 3 rhinestones just randomly on the sentiment, just to give it a little bit of a bling. No, I don't want a little one. There we go. So just to seal this up, and then that one goes into that one. And there we have it. Isn't that a super card? And it really is quite easy. The most difficult challenge I found was the cutting the slits, but it's not too bad. And there's one other card that I made using this. Here it is. And it's basically the same, it's just that I used different DSP, and I had a reindeer at the back there, which I decided wasn't quite such a good idea. And the DSP I've used here is called Floral Boutique. Not a Christmas one, but I think it works well. So there we go. Many thanks for joining me today. Hope you've enjoyed my video. If you have any comments to make or any questions, please leave it in the box below, the comments box below, or email me at janb@janbcards.com. I'm always very happy to help you. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, except for the googly eyes, if you click on show more below, it'll open up the box, and in there you'll find a link for my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button. And finally, I will be putting all the measurements and all the products that I've used, details on the screen, but if you can't see them because of the device that you're watching this on, again, it'll all be in the box below. This is the last video that I'll be posting before Christmas 2016, so I'd like to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, and I would also like to take this opportunity of thanking you all very, very much for your support. It means an awful lot to me, so many, many thanks. So Merry Christmas and a very bright New Year to you all. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.